Kaisha. I studied fashion design at the International Fine Arts College in Miami. I graduated in 1998 with the best knitwear design of that year in my class. I came back to St. Martin after that in 1998, and from there I started Kai Design as of 1999 on a regular basis, and I've been doing fashion design ever since. I have traveled a lot through the Caribbean, St. Kitts, Antigua, Tortola, St. Croix, and other Caribbean islands, including the United States, and I've done fashion shows there as well. I've met a lot of Caribbean designers like myself, and it's been doing really, really well for the last couple of years. My style of designing is knitwear and crochet wear by hand. I do all of it by myself from beginning to end. It's a tedious process for some people, but for me it's really easy. I mean, I can finish a wedding dress in maybe 2 to 3 weeks, you know, and for people to hear that, they'll be like, are you crazy? Do you do it like morning in or and tonight? And I know, because I have a second job, and it's something that I love to do. So it's not work for me. You know, somebody would say, but that's a lot of work, but it's not work for me. It's something that I really, really enjoy doing. Well, I did everything on my own, first and foremost, when I came back to St. Martin, because first of all, there weren't a lot of St. Martin fashion designers. If we had fashion designers, they didn't live on St. Martin. For example, Sandra Illich, who's also a cousin of mine, she lived in Holland. And I got to meet her like maybe a couple of months after my son was born, in 2002, and we were scheduled to go to Carafesta. So that's when I met her, and then I said, okay, there's more than one fashion designer on the island, so I basically learned under her. She taught me the ropes, and from there I kind of did everything on my own. I went and I registered the business. I started to look for clientele. I had my stuff in stores and boutiques like Maliona's in the beginning, and then it started where people started to make orders. So it was a tedious process like everything else that you start, but I mean, if you love what you do, the process itself is rewarding after you see like somebody actually buys a piece of yours and you see it out on the road or out at an event. It gives you pleasure to know that people are actually wearing your stuff that is made locally on the island. People love my bathing suits because those are what people saw me do in the beginning, but I also do wedding dresses, skirts, tops, pants, you name it. It all depends on what you want or whatever's in my collection at that time. But the bathing suits are popular, very popular. I mean, the first thing people ask are, do you do bathing suits? Or I get orders for August Monday. You know, if they're going away, they'll order bathing suits and stuff like that. But I started off doing bathing suits, but all around I do everything else. Well, I started at fashion design school in Miami, like I said before, and it was never anything to say that I was going to be a crochet designer or a knitwear designer. It wasn't like that. I went to study fashion design. I studied draping, sewing, you name it, everything there is to know about fashion design. I studied that. And a day I came into one of my construction classes, and the teacher saw me wearing a sweater, so she asked, who made that sweater? I said, well, I did. You know, and she was like, so you knit and you crochet? I said, yes, I do. And her idea, which she came up with, was, why don't I knit and crochet the 3 pieces for my graduating class or my graduating project? And I looked at her and I said, there's an idea, but it wasn't anything that I did on a regular. I mean, my great-grandmother taught me how to knit and crochet when I was like 7 years old, and to me it was a hobby. It was never anything that I thought that I would make money off of, you know, afterwards. And when I finished and I told her, yes, you know, I can do it. She pushed me to do it, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do the 3 pieces, knit and crochet wear or whatever. And as I got home after our initial meeting, I'm going, okay, the only thing I can make is a hat. you know, and I told this woman I can make skirts and pants and sweaters and scarves. So the weekend after we had the conversation, I sat down in my dorm room and I made a sweater from this Friday night. I did not go anywhere. I didn't go out with my friends, nothing. I stayed in my dorm room from Friday night till Monday morning, and I went into the class and I said, here, I made a sweater. And she was like, oh my God, when did you make the sweater? I said, all weekend. You know, so she was like, okay, definitely you have to make those pieces for your graduating class, so get to it. And then about 2 to 3 weeks later, my entire collection was finished. Other than the fashion design, I started making soaps, you know, as a thank you for my clients who came to me around Christmas time. So instead of just giving them a piece of Kai design or whatever they ordered from me, my incentive as a gift was to make soaps. And I learned by mistake because I saw this TV program online, a TV program on TV, and it was saying you can make soap. So I said, okay, how can you make soap? So I decided to investigate or to look it up online to see what you need to make these soaps or whatever, and I ordered the stuff, all the ingredients and everything that I needed, and I made the soap. And from there people were coming back and ordering, and I was like, no, I don't do them for ordering, I just do them as gifts, you know. But then the demand came that people were looking for the soaps, and my biggest order to date is still the AIDS soaps that I made for Suzette Moses for the AIDS campaign that she was doing a couple of years ago. I told her, I said, I can make AIDS soaps, you know, the AIDS ribbon soaps or whatever. And she said, okay, let me see a sample. I showed her a sample. And like about a week after, she calls me back and I say, okay, she wants to order. So I'm thinking in my head, maybe 300 soaps, maybe 500 soaps. Suzette's on the phone going, I need 3,000 soaps in a month. And I looked at the phone and I go, okay, I can do that. And having absolutely no idea how in the world I was going to finish 3,000 soaps. But yeah, I did it, and I was really, really proud of myself because it was really a task to do 3,000 little AIDS ribbon soaps in 4 weeks. Yeah. My new collection that is coming out is a lot of vibrant colors. The trend these days is like color blocking and all of that stuff, so I'm trying to go within the trend where you put different colors together that maybe don't match, but then when you put them together they kind of sort of go together. So I'm trying that. I do the regular stuff. I still do special orders and orders from stores from abroad as well, so it's everything and then in one. So I try to do my collection and everybody else's orders at the same time, which is a little tedious, but I get through it. I had a couple orders from a couple stores abroad, but the thing that people don't understand or they fail to realize is that I do everything by hand. It's not factory made. It's not, you know, I don't give the work to somebody else to do. I do everything by myself on my own, you know. And for me, I've tried to do the factory thing. I got a lady in, I think it was in Indonesia, to make a few samples, but for me, it takes the joy out of a piece, you know what I mean? If you mass produce a piece, it's like, okay, it was machine made, it wasn't made by me, I didn't do the work, you know. It takes the joy out of making something, especially for somebody. But I mean, I do little things for the stores, like little earrings or bags or stuff like that, so it works out. Thank you for having me on Talk Art. Hope I'll have another opportunity to come back and talk to you again.
Hi, welcome to Talk Art. I'm Milkaya Laijah, creator and designer of the line Milkaya Laijah Women's Ready-to-Wear, upscale ready-to-wear. I'm an upcoming designer, born and raised in St. Martin. Studied in Paris, France, in fashion school, Esmet Fashion School, and designing and pattern drafting. I've launched my line 2 years ago, so that was in 2010. So technically I'm a very young fashion designer. It's really not, it's finally a dream come true. Still at the beginning of the dream, a lot of opportunities, a lot of, how would I say, a lot of opportunities, but also, well, I can't find other words how to come ahead, and I can't wait. Sometimes it's very difficult, it can be very difficult, but also brings a lot of worries and fears and so on, but there's nothing else that I would rather be doing, actually, or ever for that matter. I believe that fashion and designing should be an expression of oneself, and I'm in upscale ready-to-wear for the quality. We live in a world now where it's very difficult for designers to talk about quality. Back then, not even so long ago, 10 years ago, you could have talked about quality. You could have buy your clothes and have them last up to now. Nowadays, it's a lot about the designer who sell themselves, the brands, the names, the collaborations, but at the end of the day, you have clothes that will be on stitch, that the buttons will loose, you will have lining that will be done in like 2 weeks. That will be dead off in like 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever. I want to bring back quality. There's a global recession going on. People, it's not they are not willing to buy, but they aren't willing to buy anything at any price. So if they are willing to buy less or they are willing to buy differently, it would be best to give them at least, well, not even at least, but the best it would be to give them quality. Quality that whatever you buy today, whether it's a tailor pantsuit, your pantsuit, your tailor jacket fitted well for you to go to work, to go to the office, your cocktail black dress, your nightgown, whatever it is, that you can have it as long as possible. Now we all know that we women, we love fashion, and no matter what's the price, if it's from Gucci or H&M, once we get sick of it, we get sick of it and we wear anything else. But we all should be able to bring it back, and we bring it back whenever we want it, and it's still new, it's still nice, it's still refreshing, it can be worn, it can be sold, it can be given to anyone else in the family, to a friend, to your daughter, your granddaughter. Quality is the most important word, I feel now, for any designer, and mostly upcoming designers. Quality and also fashion ethics. The whole mass production concept, having people working hard and not third world countries anymore, but countries that are now developing, the China, India, and so forth. That doesn't really work anymore. You have to think on who is behind this, who is in a workshop, who is creating, how can we make that person's life better, how can we create clothes, create cotton and so forth without leaving an awful impact on the environment. How can we have fur but without having to like kill animals and have them held in cages. How we can have leather, it would be fake leather, let's say, for instance, but looking like the real thing and not smelling like plastic and not having to go killing any baby lambs or so forth. This is what young designers have to be thinking on nowadays in order to last, in order to to leave a legacy, in order to live with their time. Well, I have a lot of classic designs, and I also have a lot of designs that are more, how would I say, more daring, more fashion-oriented, more artistic. It's important to have both. If I only create classic designs, well, the girls who are a little more, who are more daring, who are more wild, who are more imaginative, they wouldn't really be attracted to that. And if I only go in this, well, the everyday woman who has to go to work, who's more, classical, she would not go towards the whole crazy Gaga style, if we're talking about crazy stuff. Daring stuff, not crazy. So it has to be a mix between both, and I always do that. As I started designing the the term they used most to describe my line was sexy. And I really had a big problem with that because I thought that the word was demeaning, vulgar, a little too easy. And as I continued designing and looked at what other designers did, I realized that Milkaya Laijah is sexy. And I shouldn't be afraid of the word. And it's sexy because, gosh, I'm a Caribbean girl. Girls down here are sexy. The way we walk, the clothes we wear, the colors, there's so much there. When I end up Paris, I see fashion. And when I'm down here, I see fashion also. Explosion of colors. I see on different bodies. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's a little awkward, but girls are not afraid, they are daring. They are not afraid of the length of the amount of jewels. They are not afraid of the length of the clothes. They are not afraid of the explosion of colors. They are not afraid to go out there, no matter what their figure it looks like, no matter the size or whatever. And I like that. Girls here really want to be sexy now. Being Caribbean girls, it should be much easier. In Paris, there's this whole other concept that I love. I love Paris. I love the fashion scene there, and I truly believe that Paris is the capital of fashion. But as a girl that was born and raised in the Caribbean, I'm getting sick of the whole minimalist scene, I love fashion, but I won't show it kind of way. Without going to the other style, like the Miami, like over bling bling and bimbo style, it's not that. I really want to balance it out. I want it to be sexy, a Caribbean flavor, but a Caribbean flavor worldwide. I want my clothes to be worn in Australia and Los Angeles, in Florida, in summertime in New York, summertime in Paris. I want all of them. I want them to be worn worldwide, but with a flair that I'm from the Caribbean. Just like how Bob Marley he imposed reggae to the world. So I want to impose Milkaya Laijah as a line to the world. Even before I was into fashion, that means that I'm in high school and buying the Vogue and the Elle and so forth in the supermarkets, I realized that I had a lot of affection and a lot of admiration for Dolce & Gabbana. Dolce & Gabbana are sexy. Whatever they do, they flaunt women. They're about showing the grace, the beauty of women, and that's what I do every day with Milkaya Laijah. I also like Alaya. He's a designer from Tunisia, and he's sexy, but in a different way. It's more mystical, it's more subtle. Dolce & Gabbana has this more, it's not easy, but it's the definition, the epitome, the definition self of sexy. And you see, they are quite different in their style, but the same word comes back. So, yeah. I launched my line 2 years ago in 2010. It was first presented in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, during the Caribbean Fashion Week. It was their 10th anniversary at the time. That was my Ethnic Rock collection. I invite you to go on my website or my Facebook page to get a look of it. As the name says, it's a melting pot between what we call ethnic fashion, so they were big African prints, and rock. So it was mainly black, the whole minimalist concept, but just mixed together to create something very personal, something very universal. When I did it, I got a lot of positive feedback, and other people who were like, you know, this line is too, they said, traditional, too Africans, too this, to that. I think it was because I was a Caribbean girl, so they like, oh, you're a black girl and you're doing African prints. It's traditional, you know, they put everything in a whole big bag. 2 years after, Burberry Prossum did it, and it's huge. So you see what world we live in. But I was very happy that I stepped out there, I did what I had to do, I believed in myself, and it worked, and voila. My second collection that was presented in 2011 is called the Badass Collection. I wanted to do something very different from my very first collection, so I went in the whole superhero scene. I thought a lot about what I liked when I was a little girl. Now that was the 80s. all those vibrant colors, the music, Madonna, Michael Jackson, MTV was getting big. We're the whole MTV generation. What else was going on at that time? The cartoons and so forth, the superheroes, the Catwoman, the Wonder Woman and so forth. I wanted to bring part of that, all that scene that I was too small to be part of, bring it back without going into an 80s revival. I still inspired myself of the whole color concept, the color blocks, the color patches and so forth, to create a badass collection in which there's the whole sexiness going on also. It's very feminine, it's very daring, it's very bold, it's not aggressive, but it's a very, very determined collection. On the other hand, I work with a site, a fashion site called Mon Défilé. So to translate that, that will be my catwalk in English. And it's a site that was launched for young designers, upcoming designers, to sell their lines. So for Mon Défilé, it's more mainstream. Everything is like, the edges are much softer, much more, it's more blended and more, but it's still Milkaya Laijah that is expressed in Mon Défilé, but Milkaya Laijah for a broader or larger clientele, I would say. I will soon be visible in some upcoming galleries in Paris. I love working with people who are at the same level at me, who are really trying hard to be out there, to create, to innovate, to try something new, who are daring. And so I'll be working with a couple of galleries, but can't talk so much for a while, have to leave things happen. It's not couture, and it's definitely not haute couture. Haute couture is the, how would you say, the extravagant part of fashion. It's the show, it's the dream, it's what makes people look at fashion and admire fashion and designers. It's a whole big dream. They're like selling a fairy world, and that's great. But haute couture, there aren't any clients anymore. There are 7 haute couture clients in the world. Only 7 clients. What I do is ready-to-wear, luxury ready-to-wear, meaning that it's, as the name is, ready-to-wear. Put on your pants. You might have to do the same. The jacket is fitted. Might have to do the sleeves eventually. But it's ready to wear. You just put it on and that's okay, but it will last. The quality will be good. It will be done in how would I say, it will be produced by seamstresses and tailors and so forth, not handmade unless there are seconds and beads and pearls and so forth. That usually is handmade. But in all of my collections for a while, I never went in that very folkloric and decorative style. Nothing against it, but haven't exploited that as yet. I'm giving myself the famous 5 years plans. So to tell you the truth, it was a little, when I was younger, it was so where things were clearer. I said I have to be in design in school, I will finish design in school, I will launch my line, I will do this. And after once I had to think about marketing and producing and sales and all the things that are around my line of work, but that do not include designing and pattern drafting. The artistic part, it got a little blurry. anyhow, I'm back on track. So my 5-year plan would be to have at least 2 stores in Paris selling only Milkaya Laijah, my name brand stores. From afterwards, we can see about going into other major cities in France, out of France, New York, Los Angeles, anywhere else, but make Milkaya Laijah be more visible as a store in itself. Well, for all the girls, well, I shouldn't say girls, for all the people here, the young people here, who are considering fashion designing, I'll tell them, go ahead. It's not easy, but it's not impossible either to become a fashion designer. It's a lot of hard work, but it's good work. It's doing what you like to do. It's creating, inventing, and readapting, and it's okay to be afraid, but always just keep pushing forward. But even if you're afraid, just keep going on forward and on and on. And the advantage that they have that I didn't have back then is this whole, how do you say, all these social networks. It's so easy to communicate, it's so easy to see what's going on, what other designers are doing. It's so easy to have access to upcoming designers who are a little further on, that you can just send them a MP, a private message on Facebook, and you ask them a question and they reply, even if it's not right away, but they will reply, and so forth. That's very important. So just live your dream. Don't live in frustration and I should have do this and I could have do this, and being angry and hating where you are in life. Just go on. It's not easy, but it's not impossible either. So go ahead. Hope you enjoy your time with me on Talk At. I encourage you to visit my Facebook page, Milkaya Laijah, and my website also, milkayalaijah.com, and hope to be hearing and seeing from you soon, and always looking for models and new clients, women for the while, but men, I have an eye on you.